Somewhere inside you is a version of yourself you have never allowed to exist. Not lazier, not softer. The opposite. A version so unbothered, so exact, so impossible to shake, that the people who think they know you would go quiet in his presence. You have been told discipline is about routines, cold showers, early mornings, clean plates. That's the beginner's version, that's the poster. Real discipline is not a routine. It is a decision to stop negotiating with yourself. It is choosing permanently that your mood does not get a vote. Machiavelli did not write for people who wanted to be liked. He wrote for people who wanted to last. He understood something most men avoid their entire lives. The world does not reward the sincere. It rewards the composed, not the loudest man in the room, the one who doesn't need the room at all. When a man becomes genuinely disciplined, something strange happens to the people around him. They don't compliment him, they study him, because a man who no longer needs anything from you cannot be bought, cannot be rushed, and cannot be controlled. That kind of man is not loud. He is simply unavailable to chaos. If you're watching this, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're tired of being predictable, even to yourself. You know the pattern. 2 good weeks, 1 bad night, back to 0. You're not looking for motivation. Motivation already failed you 100 times. You're looking for something that doesn't run out. That's not a feeling. That's a structure. So here's the deal. This isn't inspiration. This is demolition. We're not adding a morning routine today. We're taking apart the version of you that needs one to feel good about himself. By the end of this, you'll understand why being agreeable is expensive and why the calmest man in the room is usually the most dangerous. Machiavelli wrote that men judge by the eye more than the hand. Everyone can see. Few can verify. So most people manage what's seen. The average man announces his transformation before he's earned it. New year, new gym membership, new caption. Day 1, told to everyone. By day 9, silence, and nobody asks, because nobody expected him to finish. Here is the quiet rule almost nobody follows. Results don't need a press release. The moment you narrate your effort, you've spent some of the effort on the narration. You've turned discipline into performance, and performance needs an audience to feel real. Real discipline needs no witnesses. It happens whether anyone claps or not. Try this. Pick one goal and tell no one. Not your group chat, not your comments, no one. Let your only proof be your result. Delivered late and undeniable. People will ask what happened to you. Let your answer be short. I gotta work. That's it. That sentence should feel like a locked door. This isn't about secrecy for its own sake. It's about protecting your plans from other people's opinions before they're finished cooking. An idea spoken too early gets talked out of existence by people who never intended to help build it. Nobody who is actually disciplined feels like it most days. They feel the same resistance you do, the same 5 a.m. dread. The only difference, they stop treating that feeling as a decision maker. Machiavelli said men are moved by love or by fear, rarely by reason alone. Apply that inward. You cannot run your life on loving the process. You will not love the process on the days that matter most. You need something less romantic and more reliable than love, obligation to your own word. Here's the actual mechanism. Give yourself 3 seconds between the impulse and the excuse. The 4th second is where your brain builds the case for staying in bed. So you don't get to the 4th second. You move on the count of 3. No negotiation, no committee meeting with yourself. Over weeks, this becomes structural. You're no longer a man trying to feel motivated. You're a man whose actions simply don't check with his mood first. That's not robotic. That's just no longer negotiable, which to everyone watching looks a lot like control. Machiavelli warned that a prince who depends on the goodwill of others is building his position on a foundation he doesn't own. Look honestly at who gets your evenings. Are they building something, or are they just comfortable watching you not build anything either? Most people fill silence because silence tells the truth. Alone, with no scroll, no noise, you hear the sentence you've been avoiding. I know exactly what I should be doing, and I'm not doing it. Becoming disciplined will cost you some relationships. Not because you become cruel, because your growth becomes a mirror, and not everyone wants to look in it. They'll say, "You changed, you have." That was the entire plan. You don't owe anyone an apology for having standards they didn't agree to live by. Isolation, used correctly, isn't loneliness. It's a controlled environment for becoming someone new without a live audience voting on every step. It is much safer to be feared than loved, Machiavelli wrote, if you cannot be both. Translate that inward, not outward. It's not about intimidating people, it's about no longer being easy to read. An undisciplined man is predictable. People know exactly which button gets him to fold. Push hard enough, he cancels. Insult him, he reacts. Pressure him, he quits. That predictability is a leash, and other people are holding the other end of it. A disciplined man removes the buttons. Someone insults him. He pauses, then keeps working. A crisis hits. He assesses instead of panicking. He loses something. He rebuilds instead of posting about it. Nothing about that is cold. It's just no longer available for manipulation. That consistency, shown up daily without commentary, becomes its own kind of weapon. Not because it threatens anyone, but because it cannot be negotiated with, waited out, or worn down. Every comfort available to you today was engineered by someone who profits from you staying exactly as undisciplined as you are. Endless entertainment, endless food, endless ways to feel busy without moving forward. In an environment engineered for comfort, discipline is the actual rebellion. Machiavelli studied empires that didn't fall to outside armies. They fell because comfort hollowed them out from the inside first. The same mechanism works on a single person. Standards don't erode all at once. They erode one skipped rep, one snoozed alarm, one just this once at a time. So set a standard that looks unreasonable to people who haven't decided to change yet. You don't need to explain why you wake up early or why you pass on what everyone else is having. Because I'm not who I used to be is a complete sentence. It doesn't need a footnote. Guard your time like it's the one asset you can't get back, because it is. Every minute spent arguing with someone who is never going to change their mind is a minute stolen from the life you're actually building. This is the part people skip because it's the only part that actually hurts. To become the version of you that unsettles people, you have to stop defending the version that apologizes for wanting more. Machiavelli wrote that conflict can be delayed, never permanently avoided. You are in a quiet standoff with your old habits right now, whether you admit it or not. If you don't end it on your terms, it ends on his, usually at 11 p.m., usually with an excuse that sounds reasonable in the moment. You will lose some things in this shift. Some friendships won't survive your new standards. Some people will misread your focus as arrogance. That's the toll. Pay it and keep walking. On the other side isn't a harder version of you, it's a quieter one that doesn't need to perform certainty because he actually has it, one who sees a setback as information, not identity. Here's what actually happens when this sticks. The noise gets quieter. Not because your life gets easier, but because you stop lying to yourself about what you're capable of. And most of that background anxiety was just the gap between what you say and what you do. When the gap closes, there's nothing left to be anxious about. You just do the next thing. This isn't a warm path. It's not designed to be. It's designed to be sustainable, which matters more on the days no one's watching and nothing's clapping. If you made it this far, you already know which version you're choosing. Comment, "The door is locked," if you're done explaining yourself, and if you want the next layer of this, subscribe. We're not finished building.